Okay, so the survival of organisms without that advantageous trait. I can't say advantageous again. Okay, so those traits that are not favorable, that means that those organisms are not going to be able to survive. And if they're not able to survive, they're definitely not going to reproduce because they're dead, right? So if they're not going to reproduce, what's going to happen to their genes? Huh? What do you guys think is going to happen to their genes? Right, won't be passed on. So those characteristics, are they going to keep continuing in their population, or are those characteristics going to die out? Right, the characteristics die out with the organisms. So those organisms without the favorable variations or without the favorable traits won't survive, won't reproduce. Their traits or genes die out with them as they don't reproduce anymore. And you saw a little bit of this in some of the characteristics that we're going to talk about today in your web quest, and I'm going to give you guys those back because we will be finishing that tomorrow. So I'm going to make sure that you guys can pick up where you left off last week. All right, so differences and variations have to occur before natural selection can actually happen. So if everybody's the same, exactly the same, identical, if we were all clones, would there be any natural selection?
No.
No, because there would be no what? Variation. There'd be no advantage. Everybody would have the same advantage. Everybody would reproduce equally. Everybody would survive equally. And everybody would pass on their genes equally. So it would be stagnant, no changes, okay? Another thing though that happens is variations, are they random or are they like oh, I need a variation right now? How do variations occur?
They're random.
They're random. They're mutations, right? So variations are random. So they don't occur with any kind of purpose. They just randomly happen, and sometimes it's a good one. It's a good mutation. So if this woodchucker right here, or is that a woodchucker? A beaver thing, okay. So if he could mutate himself and have a chainsaw as an arm or something, that'd be awesome, but that's definitely not going to occur. Okay, so that you can't like force yourself to have a mutation. And also we're going to talk about populations adapting, not individuals. So genetic variation is definitely necessary. We just talked about that. Cool. Okay, adaptations, next thing, and then we have some examples. And I like one of these really, I have like 4 videos today for the adaptation examples, so I think you guys really like it. Okay, so an adaptation is going to be just a specific definition you should know. So adaptations are just changes that occur because of natural selection. If you like to abbreviate NS as natural selection, you can do it like that. Change within a population because of natural selection. Alright, when you're done, everybody has to give me a thumbs up, and we're going to talk about what the thumb means. And I'll let you finish writing that stuff in a second. Just write the definition of adaptation. Okay, so your thumb. This was an adaptation that happened by kind of accident way back with the Neanderthals, okay? I mean, we had hands of some sort, but if you look on the web quest, what was the common ancestor of all tetrapods?
It was like a lizard type of lizard thing.
Lizard, slimy, dragon, alligator thing, right? Okay, they had kind of hands, kind of flippers. Anyway, one person way back, here she is. Say hello, Lucy. Okay, Lucy. She had a mutation and developed these things, okay? Before, we were like this. Okay, so for this slide right here, I want you guys to try to understand what it was like to have no thumb. Okay? Can you try to write with no thumb? Just try. I want to see how sloppy these notes are. No, don't use your thumb. The thumb is non-existent. I don't know. It's up to you. If you have an advantage, if you had an adaptation of a thumb, you have an advantage. So what are you unable to do really well?
You can still write.
You can still write, okay? We're going to try a couple of other things later and see how well. Some of us write with no thumbs anyway. It's cool. Just try. Okay, so right here, these are some other evidences. Shh. Turn around. These are other evidences of evolution. And these are the these are the three main categories. We're going to break it down a little bit more in some more detail.
Yeah, I'm not liking this.
Most of it are pretty decent.
All right, you're writing down these examples, yes? We're going to see some pictures of mimicry and camouflage. We're going to see a video of some physiological adaptations known as bacterial resistance, and we're going to talk about the behavioral changes. If you want to write with your tongue, you can write with your tongue, but I'm trying to show you that adaptations are usually advantageous in a specific environment. Your environment as a student right now means you write with your hand. Sometimes it's kind of hard though with your thumb. Okay, so these are some adaptations. Structural, they're pretty, they're visual, you can see them. So sometimes things like homologies and analogies, these words are familiar, yes? Yeah? Those are going to be some structural adaptations that we talk about when we see in the next slide here. Physiological. So who's going to take anatomy and physiology? Anatomy and physiology. So anatomy is the structure. The physiology, what does that mean? That's still the structure. That's the what?
Huh?
What did you say? Oh, I didn't hear your answer. What does physiology mean?
The physical traits. Like the immune system and stuff like that.
Okay, so how the function of these things. Okay, so how these systems work.
Yeah.
So physiological means function, or how things function together. So we're going to see how the internal body will function, and how you can't see that adaptation, but you can actually witness it. Okay, the last one is behavioral. Most of the time you can see this one. You can see how things change their behavior in order for them to survive. The color changes is going to be like, what's a good example of something that changes its color to hide? A chameleon. So that's kind of a blend between camouflage, structural, and behavioral, because it does it itself on purpose. All right, before we go any further, this right here, this bubble, I have a star next to it. This is just a random fact that you need to be able to just regurgitate to me. It's just a known fact. Adaptations does not happen to an individual. Adaptations happen as the natural selection slowly progresses and selects for a given number of traits, and then the whole population eventually has that adaptation, because those are the ones who survive and reproduce, right? If you don't have a good adaptation like a thumb, then you're not going to be able to go grab the fruit out of the trees, so you're not going to be able to survive, you're not going to be able to reproduce, so that your traits would die out. So individuals cannot adapt. If you get hot or you get cold, what's the word that means you put on a coat or take off a coat? It's not adapt.
Instinct.
Response to stimulus or response to your environment. That you would just have a response. If you got hot, you're gonna take your coat off. You're not adapting to your environment. Adapting means you've got a new trait, and you're gonna survive and reproduce and give that trait. Okay? No. The fact that we can respond is an adaptation in itself. Yes, ma'am. I think it's because of their surroundings. I don't know about. I think maybe to offset a predator or something they could change. I'll have to look that up. I don't know. I had to look up last week how kangaroos reproduce. That was interesting. I was like, I don't know if I should do it on the school computer. I did though. All right, let's do. Will you hit the lights for me, Michael? The mimic octopus. This one is really cool. Huh? No.
Unknowns were spotted first by fishermen off the coast of Indonesia in the 1990s. It looked like an octopus, but it could morph its shape in an instant to appear as seemingly any animal around it. At first, no one had any idea what it was.
The first time I saw it, I just was blown away. You couldn't get a more spectacular animal. It really is the pinnacle of wizardry.
Biologist Mark Norman was the first scientist to study this seemingly shapeless creature. He named it the mimic octopus.
The mimic octopus makes itself look like a living, moving animal. So it pulls all its arms around behind its body and swims along like a poisonous flatfish called a banded sole. In other cases, if it's getting attacked, it puts 6 arms down a hole and raises the other 2 arms to look like a poisonous sea snake that has bands along its body. That's not enough. It'll swim along looking like a poisonous lionfish with these banded arms looking like the banded spines that come off these very deadly fish.
So far, 15 separate species are known to be in the mimic octopus act, and Norman is not always sure exactly what the mimic is doing. He observed this mimic scuttling along the sea bottom, looking something like a furry turkey with human legs.
Sometimes it's hard when you watch a mimic octopus doing what it does to interpret what's going on. It's a bit like looking at ink spots in a psychiatrist's office going, I don't know what it is, it could be a piano, it could be a fridge. So you get 3 or 4 divers together and you'll argue all night trying to work out what we think it was mimicking.
Where did nature's greatest actor come from?
So it's got the ability to morph and change into whatever predator is around, right? So the purpose of mimicking is to look like a predator, okay? I've got another example of camouflage in a second. So which of these is the worst, a corn snake or a coral snake? Which is poisonous? No looks. Okay, coral snake is poisonous. You don't want to touch a coral snake, okay? So what happens over time is that this snake, the corn snake its species has evolved to look like a predator. Because if you look like a predator, are other organisms going to come and attack you? No. No. Okay? You're mimicking something big and bad so that you don't get killed. Okay? So the purpose of mimicry is to look like a what? Right. Look like a predator. You want to scare things. You want to look big and bad. You don't want to blend in with your surroundings. You want to stand out and go, look at me. Can't touch this. Yeah.
Wasn't there like another snake that looked more like this?
Yeah, probably so, but this one's a North Carolina example, so I'm going to use North Carolina example. Yeah, so corn snakes are in North Carolina. Coral snakes are not so much. Okay, red and touch, here's the saying for it. Red touch yellow, kill a fellow. Red touch black, venom black. So they look similar in coloration to like animals, but maybe not to humans because we got bigger brains, all right? So mimicry is to look like a predator. So what about camouflage? Right, camouflage is going to mean to blend in. Do you want other organisms to see you?
No.
No, this is to hide. You want to blend in, just like people who go hunting wear camouflage because it allows them to blend in with the surroundings. Like we got camo jacket here. Just one camo jacket. Thank you, Josh. Came prepared today. Appreciate it. Okay, but he obviously we can see him here because he's not in a forest. But you guys can see Josh, right?
Okay.
Right? Okay, never mind. Okay. So camouflage means that you want to blend in. Give me an example of something that would blend in with its surroundings. Snow rabbit or snow fox, okay. Butterflies, they have the correct pattern. Yeah, what else? Polar bear. Anything else?
There's a bluebird or something like that, does it?
There's a couple birds that have the patterns of like leaf-like, okay. Let's look at this. You guys tell me what you can see here. This one, okay, hold on. I have to, these are 37 camouflage animals who are almost impossible to spot, so let's see what we can do. Oops, let me go this way. All right, can you see it? I have to sit down for this. Where's it at? Look at I see his face. Okay, I haven't looked at these yet. Katie did. Catty did. Cata did. Oh, it's like an insect. Okay, we can see that, right? Okay, you can see that. All right, toad. You see him? Look at it. It looks like a leaf. Where's the other one? Where's the? Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! There's 3, and they're all different colors. I thought those were leaves. Okay, orchid mantis. Okay, we can see that one. That one's pretty easy. Okay, buff tip moth.
Well, obviously.
But look, it looks like the end of a twig. Patoo. Poo-too. Poo-too. Where's it at? What is it? I don't know either. It's right there, guys, obviously. I don't know where it is. Okay. Barren caterpillar.
Oh, yes.
That is pretty good right there.
That is creepy.
That is really good. Mimic octopus we just saw. Furry turkey. Oh, look at him. Okay. Tree frog. Where?
On like the right of the screen. I think it's there.
Wait, what?
I don't see it. Is it right there? All right, let's see. Yep, there it is right there. I already saw that one. It's real hard to see. There he is. Color variations are changing there. Eastern screech owl. Yeah, but that's cool. All right. Stick bug. Oh, we can see that. It's a leaf, but I mean, that's pretty cool, I have to say. Giraffe. Where's the giraffe? Oh, I was like, where's the giraffe? That's pretty, it's kind of offset. Indo-Chinese flying lizard. Oh, I see the lizard tail. Okay, I see its tail. Stone flounder. That's pretty cool. It looks like a stone. You don't see it? You don't see it? Stick insect. You see it? Right there someplace? Okay. Leopard. Where's the leopard? Oh, wow. That's pretty too. Cool. Bark spider. Yeah, that's pretty. Look at this one. I like this one the best. A leaf-tailed gecko. Look how cool he is. I want one. Peppered moth. Peppered moth. Squirrel. Squirrel. Right there. You guys can see it. You can see it. Another spider. Bittern. What's that? You guys see it? I don't know. What's a bittern?
If we knew what it looked like.
I feel like he's in the top left.
Oh,
It's a bird. It's a plane. Okay. Bird. I don't see it. I think this one wins.
That's what I said. Yeah, probably should.
Oh, it's right there. Yeah, you're right. It's right in the middle. It's in the middle. Rockfish. Yeah, that's cool. Lion. Where's it at, guys? There it is, just in case you couldn't see it. Crab. Easy. Mossy leaf-tailed gecko. Where's it at? Oh, look at its face. That's pretty cool. I want to be a gecko. Look at it.
That's huge.
Leaf bug. One more time. Mimicking. That one's pretty cool. All right, look at one more. One more. Oh my gosh, look at that leaf. I mean, no, it's a bug. It's not a leaf, guys. Cuttlefish. Have you guys seen the cuttlefish? They change color. Okay. Here's a fun fact about cuttlefish. I learned this when I was at a conference one time at the aquarium. Cuttlefish are able to hide their reproductive organs from females. So guys they like tuck it and they run, okay? So they go and befriend, listen, they go and befriend a lady cuttlefish and then they sneak. And it spreads the sperm on the eggs and she has no control over it. So they act like they're a girl and they befriend a lady cuttlefish and they're like, psych! I'm fertilizing your eggs. Yeah. Yeah. So that's how they work. They're sneaky. The guys are sneaky.
Is that not considered rape?
No, not for the Okay. Let's go. Let's do 3 more slides and we'll get up and go lab, okay? So, more evidences of evolution. These are pretty familiar to you because you've had the background from the WebQuest. So fossils, we can definitely use them to see changes in species, specifically their anatomy over time. That's one really, really good one to know, and that's kind of like, talk about the fossil record, something you're familiar with. Anatomy, and these are the structural ones I was talking about a little earlier. Structural. Because these are the ones that we specifically, absolutely have to know. Homo means what? Same. Okay. So these are going to be talking about the same ancestor, same ancestor, which allows for them to inherit that common trait. Okay. But looking at the example here, it's pointing to a tetrapod limb. So it's just a limb. What are the bones of our arm? You guys know? What are the bones of your arm called? There's a couple of them. What's your
Is the radius?
Okay, so radius and ulna. So this yellow part here is the radius and ulna. What are your fingers called? Phalanges. Okay. Phalanges. What is this top part up here? It's your funny bone. Your humerus. Ha! That's why they call it the funny bone. It's humerus. You get it?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you guys do that? Humerus. Your funny bone is where your elbow meets your ulna and radius, and so when you hit it right in the back, it's your. Okay, you ready? Let's finish this up. I'll wait on you. I'm going to scroll up here, okay? So, you have to know, homo means same, so it means that that structure is inherited from the same ancestor. But, does this fin, does this leg, and this bird wing, do they all function in the same way?
Yes.
Do I fly with my leg? No. Okay, no. Trey, turn around.
I see phalanges, I see humerus, and I see.
So they have the same structure. That's what you have to see. They have the same structure because they came from the same ancestor, common ancestor, but different functions. Okay? They have a different function because this one will be used for swimming, this one's used for walking, and this one's used for flying. But they all have the same general structure because they came from the same common ancestor. All right, let's go down to the opposite of that, analogous structures. An analogy just kind of means similar to, but not the same all the time. So this feature down here, oh, I don't have one up here. Example, bird wing and butterfly wing. All right. Does the bird wing look the same as a butterfly wing? No, we got feathers and like bones, and then we have very. What is it's like chitin? The butterfly wing has like a chitin membrane to it. Okay, so they're not the same at all. Are birds and butterflies inherited from the same organisms? No. Okay, not at all. Insects and birds are two totally different kingdoms. Okay, they don't have similar ancestry at all. But are they used for the same function? Yes, they're both used for flying. Okay, so this one's completely opposite. Same function, different source of where they got their inherited wings from. So, same function, not common ancestor. Okay? So you see the homologous, same ancestor, different function. This one has same function, different ancestors. Cool? All right, vestigial structures. You guys tell me one example in the human body of a structure that is not important, that is not used. We don't really know the function of it.
The appendix.
The appendix. The belly button actually used to have a function because it connected to your throat, but now at this point in time it doesn't. But it does have a function when we are in the fetal form. But the appendix is the one I was thinking about. Right now, the appendix is not known to do anything for us. It just can accidentally erupt and spill out into your insides, which would be bad. Okay, so the definition of vestigial structure is a structure that remains from inheritance or from your common ancestors, so from ancestors, but no function. Okay, so they have no function, like your appendix, for example. A good example is in the whale, and this is the one that is always used. You will probably see a picture of this on your EOC, I promise you. Either this picture or the homologous structures, because they always have it on there. Here is a pelvis. Okay, why do we have a pelvis?
So
It keeps us balanced, so it helps us with stability if we walk bipedally. Bipedally means bi means what? Two pedal leg. Okay, like pedals, like on a bike. So bipedal means two legs. Does a whale need that? No. Okay, so they inherited this pelvis or pelvic bone from their ancestors. Their ancestors had 4 legs. Okay, so they had just like we used to be on all 4s, and now we're up here on 2 legs. But that's how it's inherited from common ancestry. All right, so embryology and biochemistry. Last ones I have pictures on the next slide for those. But before we move on, what are the 4 biomolecules that we've continually talked about? Carbs, I hear you. Lipids. Hold on, I just heard protein. And say it again. Nucleic acids. Okay, which of those do you think is the best form of evidence to show that things are related. Nucleic acids. Okay, so this one's the big guy. Make sure you know that. That's really, really, really important. And then we're going to go through some pictures. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, wait, what is the appendix used for?
Appendix for us, we don't know what it used to. It's attached to our intestines, so we think maybe it had a purpose with digestion or immune function way back, but now it's useless. Okay, so here are homologous structures, and you can see it between a horse, a porpoise, a bat, a frog, and a human. Therefore, we all have a common ancestor, yes?
Yeah.
They serve the same functions.
No.
What's with the horse? What's with the horse? Yeah, he's got a little hoof. He doesn't have phalanges per se, but like we do, but he does have a little calcaneus. Calcaneus is your heel bone. So the calcaneus is that thing. Hoof. Cool. Okay, so it's just a version of it. All right, embryology. Look how similar all of us were. If you compared you at like 3 weeks to a fish or a salamander or turtle, it'd be really hard to tell you apart. Right? Look how similar all the embryos are in their early development. That's crazy. Now here's a little time lapse. You can see the differences a little bit better now. So here's us on the end over here. What's next to us? Rabbit? Yeah. Rabbit, chicken, turtle, salamander, fish. And then here we go. You can see a couple differences, but what do you notice that's the same at the very beginning for all of us? We all have a tail. Okay. Do you currently have a tail? Do you raise your hand if you've ever met somebody who has their tailbone that kind of sticks out a little further, so they actually have a tail? A girl I went to school with in high school had a tail. I am being absolutely serious. Chandler, pick your head up. She had a little bit of about 2 inches extra on her tailbone, and she had a little bit of a nodule, like you know those dogs that have just a little nub and they just go like this. They try to wag their tail, but they don't have a tail. She couldn't wag her tail, but she had a little bit of a tail.
She had that. She like told you.
Yeah, she was on our softball team. So she was a gymnast, on our softball team, swimming, everything. So.
Oh, so you just could tell.
Yeah. So here's Dusty.
No, I haven't.
No, I Okay. With me. You ready? Okay, so embryology is just showing the commonality between how embryos develop. You know what embryology is now? Yes. Okay. We do not have a tail anymore, but our tail has formed and fused into our sacrum, which is the back part of your body. So it's just fused together in a bone form now. So our tails are not evident, but they are still kind of there because they're part of our vertebral column. Okay, and then way, way, way back in our early development, this is us right here. Okay, and the very beginning of our embryonic stages, we have gills. Okay, we have gills in the embryo form. This is before your lungs start to form. So all of us, everybody in here, had a tail and gills when we were about 3 weeks old. Yeah. So this is the reason this is called evidence revolution is because you can see the commonalities between a lot of different species. So then how do you say we didn't come from a X, or I don't know what our last common ancestor was, but the thought is we all have a common ancestor. So this further supports it because look how we all developed so similarly. Yes.
Well, I mean, we're in fluid, so how else are we supposed to breathe?
Right. So that further supports that we all, if you have the genes, the DNA that says make gills, and so does a fish, and so does a reptile, then that means we all have the same genes from a common ancestor. So yeah, how else are we supposed to breathe? That's because that's how we have evolved. We have evolved to allow ourselves to breathe in the amniotic fluid, and then it mix those gills and then develop lungs. And not everything has the genes to develop lungs, but we are a fairly recent species. Fish and reptiles are here way before us, so they don't have to have those because they just keep on using their gills. Or some reptiles will actually develop lungs. Okay, so macromolecules, are the biomolecules. That just means we compare our DNA specifically. We can also compare amino acids, because how do we make amino acids? From our what? they're coded for in our DNA, right? So the amino acids that are coded for are from our DNA. So everything's connected back to your DNA. But we just spoke of previously, the most important one was which one? Which one of these four is the nucleic acid? Yes, the one variant, because it's a double helix. Thank you. So the most important piece of evidence for biochemical similarities is your DNA. All right, you guys tell me this. I'm going to let you guys come and check these, actually. So get ready. I'm calling you. So these are different evidences of evolution. A modified structure seen among different groups of descendants. A modified structure. Sam, can you speak out? Which of those is going to be a modified structure? You got homologous, analogous, vestigial, embryonic development, or genetic comparison.
Analogous?
Okay, so modified structure seen between different groups of descendants. We'll say maybe this one or maybe this one. We'll come back to it, okay? Because that's not a lot of information. They'd have to give you information of what the ancestry is from. In the earliest stages of development, a tail pharyngeal pouches can be seen in fish, birds, rabbits, and mammals. What do you guys say? Definitely embryonic development. That evidence right there supports embryonic development similarities amongst all organisms. Exemplified by forelimbs, bats, penguins, lizards, and monkeys. Bats, penguins, lizards, and monkeys. Right, so the forelimbs just mean this right here, right? Yeah? Okay, so that was the homologous structure. All right, eyes and a blind fish. So blind fish having eyes. Are those useful? No, those are vestigial structures. Those are things that are present because of ancestry and inheritance, but no longer useful. DNA, RNA comparisons. Oh, can't see it all. Can you? What would you guys say? Genetic inheritance comparisons. Bird and butterfly wings have the same function, but different structures. Analogous, right? Same structure, same function, but different structures. And then a body structure reduced in original function, but may have been used by an ancestor. Vestigial. So it's reduced from its original function, but it's still there. So this top one, it doesn't specify, so we're going to check both of those, because that further down to give us more information. Yes?
How could that be homologous? The top one was.
Which one, the top one?
Different group of descendants.
Oh, a different group. I didn't read that. I'll go with the analogous. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cross that out. We'll go with analogous. I like it better. If it had just said modified structure, across the board blanket, I would say both, but I see what you're saying there. Okay, let's take a break. Let me tell you what I want you to do with birds and beaks. So, birds and the beaks lab. So what we have in the back are you guys are going to be the little birdies. Darwin's birds were called what? Finches, okay. And you guys are going to have different beaks, just like the finches have different beaks. With that, you're going to have to compete and see who can gather the most food, okay? There's a little competition here. Now, if the food gets everywhere, then we sit back down. But the food they're just black beans, okay? They're just little dried beans because I can't store food in my room. So your source of food is in here. You're going to have 3 or 4 people. You'll have one person being a timer. Yes, you can use your cell phone for that because the timers phones are way better than the ones that I have in the back. So we've got this version of a beak. Okay? We've got this version of the beak. Okay? We've got the chopsticks if you can figure out how to use them. We have the flat-billed beak. We have the metallic beak. Okay, they're like hard rock. And some other some different ones, okay? So you have to share the instructions. I'm asking for you to read through them before you start because you have to make sure you get the right data. So the instructions are here. You'll need a piece of paper for this. Do you have a piece of paper? Yes, everybody has a piece of paper?
Yeah.
Get it out now. Label it Birds and Beak Lab. Okay, and I'm going to group you right now, and I'm going to tell you guys which lab station to go to. U3, first lab station. U4, U3, first lab station. U4, middle lab station. U3,
Middle back or middle?
U4, middle lab station. Yes. Oh my gosh, so long bag. U3, second last station. U3, second last station. U3, third Oh my gosh. I hate giving SD right before break. You guys have 20 minutes.